Hello and welcome to the 5th Highways UK event. I'm Richard Westcott, a BBC correspondent. I covered transport for 7 years. Now I do a lot of technology, a lot of cabs, a lot of electric vehicles, hydrogen and so on, so lots of future gazing still. I'll be hosting here over the next 2 days this fabulous Jacobs Theatre, and it's a real privilege to be here once again. I mean, I've been coming to Highways UK since it started 5 years ago, and I've just watched it grow into this incredible event, important in everyone's calendar. And I really do feel it's a place where you can sense how the industry is doing, where the industry is going, and talk to some of the sort of big players in the industry. So I think it's become a very, very important place to attend. We have got 20% more delegates this year, 16 themed presentation areas, well over 100 scheduled content events each day, so there's lots to go out and see and do and people to meet. We thought we'd have a budget today, so it's been quite interesting, hasn't it? We thought we'd have some big RIS2 announcements to talk to you about. Brexit, unfortunately, once again, is the broken down lorry in the Dartford Tunnel. You can't get it shifted, everything's backing up behind it. And this upcoming election means we're in a purdah period. So the DfT and Highways England have been in sort of careful talks about who can talk and what they can say and so on. So unfortunately, it means we can't have a ministerial address this year, which I'm sure you all understand. And also, unfortunately, Jim O'Sullivan isn't able to talk here this morning. It's very disappointing, but that's the instruction that's come down. But we have a fantastic alternative. We have Steve Gooding, director of the RAC Foundation, spent 30 years at the DfT, lots and lots of experience in the industry. So thank you, Steve, for stepping in. Quite a lot seems to have changed over the 5 years since I've been coming here. The importance of roads is clearly recognised by the government, and they are backing that up with some serious money. But all of that building work means that basically they are squeezing capacity at a time when the traffic keeps increasing. And managing that is difficult. I live near the A14, and although people in and around Cambridge where I live know that they need the new road, they couldn't stand the old road, but they can't bear the roadworks either, and it's sort of number one topic of conversation. I've had a friend move business because of the roadworks. So keeping all those customers happy and informed is a challenge, and I think we'll be talking about that a lot this year, and the role data has in doing that as well. So talking of people, we'll hear a lot this year about the importance of integrating transport and spatial planning, how roads mustn't be built in isolation, but with the bigger picture in mind, how they can improve lives with the least possible impact on the environment. Climate change is starting to ask some big questions of the transport industry. It feels like there's been a step change in attitude even this year. You may have seen in the news, even Lewis Hamilton has decided to sell his private plane to cut his carbon footprint. So you know, we're all doing our little bit. One of the sessions in this theatre today is actually with the subnational transport bodies, and they're all putting in their plans for the next few decades. It's interesting what a huge role sustainability is playing in all of those plans. So I think that's going to be a really interesting session as well. Smart motorways, clearly a cost-effective way of unblocking jams, but they are under the microscope right now. Regardless of the data, clearly the public don't trust that they are safe. So what's going to be happening about that? Then there's the money, the Strategic Roads Network, well funded. The MRN's been this fantastic success. I remember covering the launch of that here a few years ago, and it shows you again the role Highways UK plays in seeing what's coming down the road. The MRN was talked about, now it's here, now it's done really well. But what is going to happen to those other local authority roads? What can you do to make sure they don't get left behind? As a BBC correspondent, the number one topic that I used to cover that got the most traffic on social media and the most emails was potholes. Every time we did it, potholes. So all the editors absolutely love covering that story. And fuel prices as well, but we won't go down that road. So the industry will need to be innovative with construction practices, with data, with sustainability, customer focus, and making the case for the long-term funding of roads. We've got 7 brilliant sessions in this theatre over the next 2 days. So we'll be hearing about the world's first automated mobility roadmap, what has to happen to make sure that we take advantage of the opportunities that autonomy can provide. We'll be asking how you make roads beautiful. That's a challenge. Looking ahead to plans for a highways sector deal, how that's going to impact the industry. Now, the architect of the recent rail sector deal is going to be here in the first session tomorrow morning, talking through what she found when she was negotiating that deal and how perhaps we could apply that to roads as well. There's going to be lots of key words we're going to be hearing this year: the sustainability, data, collaboration, funding. Boris. Makes a huge difference if we hear from the audiences in each session, so you ask much better questions than I do. So we've got the Slido app going. If you can download the Slido app, and we haven't got the hashtag on the screen yet, but there is a hashtag, and that allows you to ask questions. They come up on our monitors here on stage. Even if I don't see some of them, some of the panelists will over the next 2 days. So it's a good way of asking a question and a slightly less embarrassing way of having someone walk over a microphone to you. But let's get cracking with the first session today. So this is all going to be about the Strategic Roads Network, sponsored by Costain, so many thanks to them. So we're coming to the end of RIS 1. We're about to set out on RIS 2, what went well, what didn't go so well, what lessons have we learned. In a minute, we're going to hear from the people whose job it is to keep Highways England on track. Anthony Smith from Transport Focus, John Larkinson from the regulator, the ORR. We're also going to hear from Elliot Shaw from Highways England about the role that the digital is going to play in the future of roads. But please first welcome to the stage the director of the RAC Foundation, Steve Goody.